The psychology of people who stay loyal, even during distance. Have you ever known one of them? They are the silent anchors in the turbulent, transient ocean of our modern lives, in a world of fleeting connections, of digital friends who appear and disappear with the swipe of a screen. They are a strange and beautiful anomaly. They are the friend from your childhood who, despite years and thousands of miles of separation, still feels as close as your own skin. They are the long-distance partner whose presence you feel as a steady, unwavering warmth, a psychic constant in a world of variables. They are the family member who, though separated by continents, remains a core and integral part of your very being. You have likely looked at this person, at their strange and seemingly effortless capacity for loyalty across distance, with a sense of profound and almost mystical awe. You, a citizen of a world that has taught you that out of sight, out of mind, is a fundamental law of human nature, cannot comprehend their steadfastness. It seems to defy the very logic of our fast-paced, ephemeral, and deeply transactional culture. You see their loyalty, and you may even diagnose it with a kind of romantic and sentimental admiration. They just have a big heart. They're just a loyal person. You see it as a beautiful but perhaps slightly naive personality trait. But what if you are wrong? What if their loyalty is not a sentimental feeling but a profound and terrifying form of psychological strength? What if their ability to maintain a bond across distance is not a sign of their naive romanticism but of a deep, complex, and highly developed inner world? What if they are not the ones who are defying the logic of the modern world, but are in fact the only ones who have discovered the secret and timeless logic of the human soul? The brutal and uncomfortable truth is that the person who stays loyal, even during distance, is not just a nice or sentimental person. They are a psychological sovereign. Their loyalty is not a feeling. It is an act of profound and conscious creation. And in their quiet, unwavering, and deeply misunderstood fidelity lies a secret and powerful teaching for us all, a forgotten map that leads out of the shallow, frantic, and deeply lonely prison of the modern, disconnected self. The primal wound, the tyranny of the external object. To understand the psychology of the person who can maintain loyalty across distance, you must first have the immense courage to look at the psychology of the person who cannot. You must be willing to dissect the very nature of the connection that our modern world celebrates. For the vast majority of people, a relationship is not a union of two sovereign souls. It is a desperate and often unconscious attempt by a fragmented and empty self to find its own wholeness in an external object. The other person is not a person. They are a function. They are a source of validation, a mirror to confirm our own existence, a distraction from our own inner emptiness, a drug to soothe our own anxieties. Our love for them is not a free and generous gift. It is the needy, grasping hunger of an addict for their fix. This is the psychology of the externally referenced self. This is the person whose sense of their own reality is entirely dependent on the constant, real-time feedback of the external world. They need the physical presence of the other person, the constant stream of texts, the public performance of the relationship on social media, to feel that the connection, and by extension, that they themselves are real. For this person, distance is not just a logistical challenge, it is an existential threat. The absence of the external object, the other, creates a profound and terrifying void. The drug has been withdrawn, the mirror has gone dark, and in the silence and the emptiness that follows, they are forced to come face to face with the one thing they have been so desperately trying to escape, their own unhealed and deeply insecure self. And this is a terror they cannot bear. And so they do what any addict does. They find a new dealer. They seek out a new, more present, and more immediately gratifying source of validation. The old connection, the one that is now separated by a chasm of distance, is not just forgotten. It is, in a very real sense, experienced as having never truly existed. For a mind that can only believe in what it can see and touch, the absent are, for all intents and purposes, the dead. The inability to stay loyal across distance is not a sign of a lack of love. It is a sign of a profound and tragic inability to love at all in the true and adult sense of the word. It is the sign of a soul that has not yet been born. The psychology of object constancy. The person who can stay loyal across distance is a person who has undergone a profound and revolutionary psychological transformation. They have achieved what the psychoanalysts call object constancy. This is one of the most crucial and most difficult of all human developmental milestones. Object constancy is the ability to maintain an internal and loving image of another person in your mind, even when they are not physically present, and even when they are frustrating or disappointing you. It is the ability to know in your bones that the connection is real, even when you cannot see it or feel it in the moment. It is the transition from a love that is dependent on the external object to a love that is a stable and permanent part of your own internal world. This is not a natural gift, it is a hard-won achievement. It is the result of a long and often difficult process of psychological development, a process in which the individual has learned to differentiate their own self from the world and to build a rich, stable, and resilient inner landscape. The person who possesses object constancy is a person who has, in a very real sense, an inside. They are not a hollow shell, desperately trying to fill their emptiness with the reflected light of others. They are a self-contained universe, and within this universe, the people they love are not fleeting visitors. They are permanent constellations. They have taken the external person, and they have, through a profound and mysterious act of psychological alchemy, transformed them into an internal presence, an archetype, a guiding star in the firmament of their own soul. This is the secret to their loyalty. Their connection to you is not dependent on your physical proximity, because the connection is no longer out there. It is in here. You have become a part of them. The distance, the silence, the lack of immediate gratification, these things are not a threat to the bond, because the bond is no longer located in the external world of fleeting sensations. It is located in the timeless, eternal, and unshakable world of their own integrated psyche. This is a form of love that is almost incomprehensible to the modern, externally referenced mind. It is not a love that consumes, it is a love that contains. It is not a love that is based on what the other person can do for you. It is a love that is based on who the other person is in their essence. It is a love that has transcended the childish, needy, and transactional logic of the ego and has entered the quiet, profound, and unconditional realm of the soul. The alchemical fire, the integration of the anima, animus. To understand this process on an even deeper level, we must turn to the profound and often mystical psychology of Carl Jung. For Jung, the capacity for this kind of deep and abiding loyalty is a sign of the highest level of psychological and spiritual maturation. It is a sign that the individual has begun the sacred and alchemical work of integrating their own inner contrasexual other, the anima in a man and the animus in a woman. In the unintegrated person, the anima or animus is a powerful, unconscious, and largely undeveloped part of the psyche. And it is, Jung argued, almost always projected onto an external person. We fall in love with a person not because we see them for who they truly are, but because they have become a screen for the projection of our own lost and longed-for soul. We are not in love with a person, we are in love with a ghost, a fantasy, a missing part of ourselves. This is why most love is so fragile, so needy, and so utterly incapable of surviving distance. When the external person is removed, the projection collapses. The god or goddess that we have been worshipping is revealed to be a mere mortal, and we are left alone with the terrifying emptiness of our own unlived soul. The person who can stay loyal across distance is the person who has begun the difficult and courageous work of withdrawing this projection. They have, through a process of deep and often painful introspection, begun to build a conscious and loving relationship with their own inner other. The man has begun to cultivate his own anima, his own capacity for feeling, for relatedness, for a connection to the soul. The woman has begun to cultivate her own animus, her own capacity for reason, for authority, for a connection to the spirit. They are no longer a half-person desperately seeking their completion in another. They have become, or are in the process of becoming, a whole, psychologically androgynous and self-contained being. And it is from this place of wholeness that a new and radically different kind of love is born. Because they are no longer using you as a screen for their own unconscious soul image, they are, for the first time, able to see you. They are able to love you not as a function of their own neediness, but as a sovereign and separate being. Their connection to you is no longer a desperate and addictive attachment. It is a free and conscious choice. And because they have found their other half within themselves, your physical absence is no longer a threat. They can carry you within them, not as a fantasy, not as a projection, but as a real, whole, and beloved presence in the rich and populated world of their own soul. Their loyalty is not a sentimental pining for a lost object. It is a quiet, steady, and profound communion with a part of their own integrated being, the path of the inner sovereign, the choice before the modern soul. What then can we learn from these quiet and steadfast figures, these people who have mastered the forgotten art of loyalty across distance? They are not just social outliers. They are a mirror. They are a profound and uncomfortable reflection of the deep and often desperate spiritual poverty of our own culture. They show us how addicted we have become to the cheap, fleeting, and ultimately unsatisfying drug of immediate gratification. They show us how much we have come to fear the silence, the space, the profound and transformative power of our own inner world. The path of the loyal person is the path of the inner sovereign. It is the path of the person who has, either through grace or through hard, conscious work, built a self that is a kingdom, not a colony. It is a self that is not dependent on the constant influx of resources from the outside world, but that has discovered its own deep and inexhaustible wellsprings of meaning, of value, and of love. The journey for the rest of us, for the ones who feel the panic of the unanswered text, for the ones who see our relationships wither in the face of the smallest distance, is to have the immense courage to ask ourselves what we are so afraid of. What terrifying emptiness are we trying to fill with the constant presence of another? What profound and life-altering inner work are we refusing to do by forever seeking our own soul in the faces of others? The person who can stay loyal across distance has given us a great and terrible gift. They have shown us the possibility of a different kind of love, a love that is not a frantic and desperate attempt to fill a void, but is a calm and joyful overflow of an already existing fullness. They have shown us that the ultimate form of connection is not to be found in the physical presence of another, but in the courageous and alchemical art of building a home for that other in the sacred and sovereign territory of our own heart. And they have shown us that the ultimate cure for loneliness is not to find the perfect person, but to have the immense and terrifying courage to become one